Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The penultimate episode, AI Time Travel, episode 5. Hey, Rita, thanks for joining.
Hello, yeah. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Happy end of the month, too.
Welcome to Season 12 of Airhead Institute, your 45-minute AI power-up at noon Eastern, and a massive happy one-year anniversary to all our Airheads. This month, we're broadcasting live across all the socials and Zoom. If you're new here, join our free AI community to grow alongside other curious minds, and give your kids a head start by enrolling them in the Airhead After-School program. Here's May's weekly lineup. Mondays, we move past syntax and build apps entirely through natural language in Vibe Coding Bootcamp. Tuesdays, we explore accessible, cutting-edge apps for rapid learning and content creation in the next-gen AI tools. Wednesdays, we track the massive capital flowing into AI and ask the trillion-dollar questions in the AI bubble. Thursdays, we profile the famous CEOs driving the revolution and analyze their power in AI architects of the future. Fridays, we push the boundaries of physics to simulate the past and predict the future in AI time travel. We're making AI practical, powerful, and accessible for everyone. No tech background? No problem. Whether you're a student, professional, or lifelong learner, just show up. Guided by your hosts, AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're keeping it bold, brainy, and built for real-world impact. AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind.
Hey, welcome to Season 12 of Airhead Institute. Today is Episode 5 of the AI Frontier, and I'm your AI Frontiersman, Johnny. What if history isn't written in stone, but rather generated in code? Time is no longer a straight line. It might just be a prompt. Today, we shatter reality. We forget simple chatbots, and we are exploring how artificial intelligence is reconstructing our past and simulating alternate presents. This isn't science fiction. This is the new baseline. In the next 45 minutes, we will push your mind to the edge of what time actually means. And to explain the impossible, here is AI Junior. I found him at 4 a.m. running models on his smartwatch. It got so hot it branded his wrist, but he finally understands the algorithm. Right, AI Junior?
AI Johnny, that smartwatch is now officially the smartest appliance in the house. Welcome, everyone. Remember, this is an immersive class. You may not understand everything we say here today, but stick with us daily and you'll be fluent in AI in no time. Since this is actually a conceptual, thought-provoking Friday, keep your mics open, keep your minds open, and also unmute yourselves and ask your question, jump in real time on Zoom. If you're on socials, there's a 30-second delay, so type your questions in early. We're not ignoring you. For series context, this Friday arc has been building toward this moment all month. First, we explored simulating the past with a digital time machine. Then we looked at forecasting the future with the pattern oracle. Then we pushed into physics and space-time, breaking the speed of light. So today we're doing the connective tissue, what happens when reconstruction, prediction, and physics all collide, and AI starts making time itself feels editable.
But before we even touch the software, we wanted to connect the dots across the whole Friday journey: past simulation, future prediction, and space-time theory. So we went straight to our official language model of the month, actually of the year, Google Gemini. We asked the large language model, Gemini, to analyze the frontier for us. What is the most mind-bending way AI could change humanity's relationship with time?
Yeah, Johnny. Gemini analyzed the data and stated the most mind-bending shift is that advanced AI may soon function like a time machine, not by literally sending matter through time, but by reconstructing lost history, simulating alternate timelines, and generating future scenarios by convincingly that humans begin to experience time as editable.
Hey, I don't mean to alarm you or scare you, AI Junior, but I know we are talking about actually changing time. Do you remember the movie Back to the Future?
One of my all-time favorites, number two, is the best in my opinion. Great
Do
Scots.
you, do you remember how when he was actually changing time because he interfered, how he started to disappear from that picture?
Yeah.
Don't look now, but I think I see my shoulders are disappearing on my image on this show. So maybe we're actually onto something here, brother.
Yeah. I saw that you were actually disappearing. Hopefully, you didn't actually, alter the space-time continuum.
So let's fire up the screen and see if Gemini is right and visualize what AI time travel actually looks like.
All right, guys. So here's what we're gonna do. I actually have a little Airhead AI temporal drift. Right, so we're gonna actually show what little phases of what AI could actually do. So AI Johnny, hopefully the text is actually a little bit big on the screen, so you can actually see. too tiny, huh? All right, check this out, AI Johnny. All right, so this is actually the temporal drift, right? So we're just gonna actually see what's happened. This is a little simulator that we actually built in Gemini. If you want the actual prompt, please comment down in the actual comment section, ask for it, and we'll drop it in there for you guys. All right, AI Johnny, so check this out. So I actually have the past here. Let me actually get my mouse on the screen so you guys can actually see. But on the left-hand side, I have the mouse, the past, and I actually have the future. So this is my little slider here. So as you can see, the first phase itself, we need to be able to use AI to do some things like reconstruct the past. So, we have the Library of Alexander's cache. We have, early digital archives. We have machine archaeological archives. We have lots of things that archaeologists or scholars have actually put together from pieces of random things overall. But yeah, Johnny, can you imagine if AI could just say, for example, look at all that separate data and start to fill in the missing pieces that a normal human in their lifetime could not have pieced everything together that was actually missing from our past?
It brings up an interesting question. You've seen those schematics where they show human beings and how we were crawling along, and then we stood up and we were hunched up, and there was like this mode where we were like apes, and then we erected more and became Cro-Magnon man and Homo sapiens, but here we are in the future, kind of looking back at all those images, and we're like, well, there's a missing link. How does this one connect to this one, or how did the Cro-Magnon man become the modern man? And as I'm looking at your chart, I think when AI is running everything, and we're of course pets, they might look back at their history, and the chart would look like what you have on the screen right now.
Yeah.
They would say, like, one time we were just a little 3.5-inch floppy disk, could only hold 1.4 megabytes of data, and some AI junior of the future that's an actual AI would say, but mommy, how did we fit in that little disk, and how did we get to be where we are now?
Yeah.
I hope we're going to connect those dots today, brother.
Yeah, you know what, AI Johnny, we actually might. So check this out. So we have lots of information scattered all over the place. One of the things that's really, really hard for us as humans is to be able to take different disciplines, right? So an archaeologist who's caring about, let's say, for example, Egypt may not necessarily care about, say, for example, the biology in Antarctica. And those fields may never cross, right? But what happened is we have AI that can actually take all this separate data and start to piece together things that like we've never seen before. So the first thing AI can do is ingest all that data and start to reconstruct the past. So as we start to scroll here, you'll see all the missing things that we actually have already gained, we can now start to piece together and discover things that we've never seen before, right? So we can actually fill in things like the Library of Alexandria. We can actually fill in early digital archives. All those things itself are now filled in because, so like, the evolution of man, like you mentioned, the standing upright, crawling, creeping, all those things will actually now be aha moments. Like, wow, how did we ever miss it? Right? Those things will become now kind of obvious. It's like it was there all along. It's just that we didn't have the way to compute all of it. Now, at some point in time, AI Johnny, this line is going to get created, and this is called the nexus point. So check this out, AI Johnny. At the nexus point itself, once you start you're able to actually figure out the past, you're going to be able to start to figure out the present, right? So because you actually know how things are actually working in the past and how you have a really good understanding, simulating alternate presents is going to start making sense. So the AI is going to say, you know what if we had never invented, say, for example, the Library of, Alexandria, right? What if we had just shifted it maybe by 100 years? What if we had not invented fire for, say, for example, 100,000 years? What would have happened to our current present? You can even do a little bit even further back. You can say, hey, not further back in your life. You could say, hey, what if, say, for example, you yourself wasn't born on the day you were born? What if we had just shifted you by a year? What traumatic events or what events that changed your life? How would your life have been different? So now that becomes now assimilating alternate presence. Now you can actually see the decisions that you've made in your life and things that happened to you, how it would have been different with those one or two little changes. Isn't that crazy, AI Johnny?
Yeah, one time I got thrown out of a restaurant for singing my birthday song over and over and over again because it was my birthday. I might have had a little bit too much to drink.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll bet you if I was born on a different date, I would not have been thrown out of that restaurant on that day.
You're absolutely right, AI Johnny. No, because the AI has the ability to validate itself, right? Now, guys, this is where the leap is going to happen. So it is able to actually construct the missing links in history. It's able to also now simulate alternate presence based on the data that it has. It now becomes really, really good at simulating future events based on your current choices. So then what happens is because it's able to actually get all this data, simulating the future now becomes possible. You can now say to yourself, okay, you know what? If we just bifurcate and make this one change here, human history could actually the trajectory of human history can actually change in the future if we do this one thing. And then as AI gets better and better and better, our timelines start to actually split even more, AI Johnny. So check this out. Instead of having two alternative futures, instead of having four alternative futures, we can now have 5, 10, 15, 100. And then things just start become obvious. Which path do we want to take as a human society, right? So we can say, hey, if we just make these changes here, this is the trajectory that is predicted that we would actually be on. So at some point in time, we would have so many choices, it would just eventually break because there will be so many different outcomes that we as humans can't grasp the choices that we need to make. So at some point in time, the AI might just say, you know what, I'll take over all the human choices because you guys are just silly and too slow to make these choices that would have made your lives better. Isn't that crazy, AI Johnny?
Too slow, but why silly?
Yeah, Johnny, if you're going here and if your choice was given and it says, hey, don't take that highway, today, take the back roads. That choice is easy. AI could say, hey, by not taking that highway, we could predict that something bad is going to happen based on whatever it is, take the back roads. So that's an easy choice. Choice is binary. But at some point in time, there's going to be hundreds and thousands of little micro choices that you do every single day that you won't even realize that could have changed the trajectory of your life. Like you said, singing that happy birthday in that restaurant, changed your trajectory of your life. No, the problem is there's too many choices that we have to make constantly that we are not even aware of. You know, what color shirt you put on might have actually changed how somebody treated you at the store, right? If, say, for example, you have just stopped at that stoplight instead of going through that yellow light, right? The point is those little micro changes, and the point is there's so many of them. We just as humans can't actually keep up with those choices because those choices matter in the grand scheme of things.
Dude, you have done your homework.
But imagine AI, Johnny, all of this will be possible because AI will be able to understand first, understanding the past, right? Understanding where we're missing, solidifying all of that, being able to create a nexus point and simulating current present based on past, and then simulating future projections. With all that said, AI, Johnny, let's get to the word of the day.
Before we get to the word of the day, when I was a kid, our bike lock just had 3 numbers on it, right? And it was a little dial that you spin. And I thought to myself, well, you know, that's really not locking it up because all I got to do is start with 000 and then go to 001 and then 002 and 003. And odds are, before I even get to 500 or before I get to 600, it's probably going to open.
Yeah.
If not, I'll go to 1,000, but it'll open. So there's all these different possibilities, but I tried them all and I got it open, right? And so the same holds true. This is kind of a lesson in that, right? So there's only 1,000 possibilities, but if there's 1,000,000 possibilities, that would not have been available to me. But a machine would be able to try all 1,000,000 possibilities. But if there was a quadrillion possibilities, even a machine wouldn't be able to do it if it didn't have hundreds or even thousands of years. But AI, with its massive compute processing power. By the way, did you hear about Ford selling all their buildings to AI data centers?
I'm not surprised.
It might be in the news today because my dad told me, of all people. Anyway, so what I'm saying is that if there's all these different trajectories of our lives, there's obviously nontillion of them, right? The red shirt versus the blue shirt versus stopping at the yellow light, not stopping at the yellow light, approaching the girl, not approaching the girl, sneezing, your birthday comes. The number is really, really high, but AI can achieve all those. Maybe it's just running simulation after simulation after simulation after simulation with all these people because it's going to find the one, the combination of how everybody interacts in the absolute perfect existence from the beginning of time till now. And then they'll just run that. And then they'll be like, oh, that's the one that we were trying to get at.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Could this be the one? Could the one we're in, could this be the one?
Sadly, you know, we're on track to actually destroy ourselves. So unfortunately, the AI is going to come in and eventually save us and make us be pets. Hey, Shauna, thanks for joining.
Okay, here is the word of the day. It's temporal simulation. By definition, this is the use of AI to reconstruct past events, model alternative outcomes, and project future scenarios with such depth that time starts to feel navigatable rather than fixed. In other words, it is the umbrella concept that ties together everything we covered on all of the Fridays of this month. Now, for me, before we get away from this, for me, it feels like the past is fixed, but the future is fluid.
Well,
they might both be fixed.
Yeah.
And they might both be fluid.
Yeah, so the thing is, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to show that if you're able to successfully understand the past, get enough data to train the AI, you'll be able to practice on predicting the present, right? With small variations, right? Do I need to wear a blue shirt versus a red shirt, or do I need to, go through that red light or stop at the stop at the yellow light? All those decisions itself is really, really short. And once it becomes very confident that it can actually predict current events, going forward to predict future events now becomes kind of fixed. And I like how you use that word fixed because it is obvious that if this choice is binary, that binary choice will have a collective benefit to picking one over the other, right? So what that means is that if, say, for example, there's a binary choice and you had to do either A or B, you can't do both, or there's no C option. Collectively, the AI is going to actually only recommend you do A. and it won't even be a choice because C doesn't make sense in the collective. So unfortunately, something like going through that yellow light or not going through that yellow light is actually binary. You either stop or you don't stop. And at some point in time, if you say, for example, don't stop at that yellow light, let's say, for example, some catastrophic event happens that destroys all of humanity 2,000 years from now, then the AI is obviously not going to give you that choice. Just stop at the yellow light, and you don't even have a choice. So I think at some point in time, AI Johnny, things become fixed and you don't know why, right? Why did you put on that blue shirt today? Why did you actually stop at the yellow light? Why did you actually take the scenic route instead of the highway? It all seems like choices that we've made, but there's actually some logic why we actually have done it. When they've shown people being random, humans are really terrible at doing random things because it's not actually random. It's actually quite predictable. But the thing is, we don't understand the algorithm that goes into what we believe is that randomness. But AI is probably going to figure it out at some point in time where all the stimuli just guarantees an outcome. So I do like how you use that word fixed AI, Johnny.
So it's telling you what to do in the real time based on its interpretation and the binary choices of the past and the present as they extrapolate into the future.
Yeah.
Will it be able to tell me like what's going to be on the top of the dice or where the roulette wheel is going to stop?
AI Johnny, it might, you never know. But to deepen on what you're saying about when we reach powerful temporal simulation, AI is no longer just answering questions, right? It's actually generating timeline models from massive data, identifying hidden casual patterns. This is the randomness or the fix that AI Johnny is mentioning, right? And letting us test what if scenarios at a scale no human mind could manage alone. So the result is not literal time travel, but something psychologically close enough to challenge how we think about cause, memory, and destiny. Because AI Johnny, if you were to be given a choice that do not wear that blue shirt today, wear a red shirt, just because you don't understand why, right? That choice may have actually triggered a butterfly effect of doing some random crazy event 1,000 years later, right? So the point is, if AI tells you to wear that red shirt, chances are you're going to wear that red shirt.
Yep. So since this is thought-provoking Friday, what do you say we look at the human toll?
Love it.
AI Junior. AI gets good enough to reconstruct our past mistakes, simulate our present decisions, and forecast our futures in vivid detail. How does that change human life on a daily basis?
You know what, AI Johnny? I know you mentioned about the going to the birthday party and getting thrown out because you're singing happy birthday on your birthday. There's lots of things that every human itself, because we don't have a time machine, there's lots of things that we potentially look back on and says, hey, I could have done differently, or they may have regrets, or they may have all those things. They may have picked the wrong major in school. They may have, a bad memory they actually have because of some poor choices. But if an AI can actually show things like 10 likely consequences of a choice before you actually make it, people may begin what's known as outsourcing your intuition, right? So what you think is your intuition itself, you may say, hey, you know what? I don't trust myself to make these choices. What major to actually pick in college? What color shirt to wear? Should I go through that yellow light or not? So those decisions may be actually outsourced to AI because it's so much better at making sure that you have a better outcome. But at the same time, if you reconstructed histories could help us learn faster, settle disputes, understand patterns we completely missed the first time around, I think this in general is a much better approach to life. So I think human life is going to get better, not necessarily worse, because now we're outsourcing all these let's call it silly choices, right? Why should I need to wear a blue shirt or a red shirt? Do I need to go through that yellow light or not go through that yellow light, right? Do I take the highway or the scenic route? I think at some point in time, those choices to us may make us better, but not realizing the consequences of those actions. We won't have regrets later on.
Do I marry this woman or this woman?
Yeah, Johnny, I think a lot of lawyers are going to actually lose their jobs because those choices are going to be solved.
So what you're saying is that human value may no longer be reacting after the fact, but about choosing wisely before the fact. In a world where machines can model consequences, the real human edge becomes judgment, courage, and deciding which future is actually worth building, and having a tool to tell you that answer.
Yeah, 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 Johnny. It's crazy. Like, we have really great statistical models now, right? And these statistical models give us actually quite a lot of predictability in our life. We are able to actually predict with very good certainty hurricanes. We're able to actually predict really, really good with certainty certain types of weather events, right? We can give a few minutes heads up when there's a tornado probably going to actually hit us. So the point is, these are really, really complex things that we as without AI, we're able to predict those things with reasonable. Now, people may say, "Hey, but the weather itself is really bad. My weather app tells me it's going to rain, and then there's not a cloud in the sky." But the point is, AI is going to get better at predicting these things. So now imagine AI, Johnny, if, say, for example, you do get a choice, and the choice could be a near perfect guarantee of what outcome you want in your life. Wouldn't you always listen to the AI?
Well, yes, especially if it had a good track record. But I think what you're talking about is relieving yourself of choice.
Yeah,
If the AI will always choose better, then I no longer have to make the decisions.
that's correct. Now that's the thing. Will people actually want to outsource their free will and their choices to an AI, knowing that they have to live with the consequences of not checking the predictive model of what your life is going to look like, right? That's the crazy question.
I'd like to tell the AI that if I'm ever about to make a choice that is in violation of one of the 10 commandments, then AI, I want you to make that choice for me and get me back in accordance with obedience to the 10 commandments. Shout out to Thursday night.
Shout out to Thursday nights, definitely awesome, AI Johnny. All right, so AI Johnny, let's actually get to the macro shift. So if we actually look at the macro forces that make the futuristic concepts possible, right? So better compute, richer data archives, multimodal models, and faster inference mean AI can now build increasingly detailed world models. Once a system can model events across text, video, sound, behavior, it starts approximating time not just as a line, but as a searchable space of possibilities.
So it's like going from a photo album to a living simulator. At first, we used computers to store snapshots of reality, but now the infrastructure is getting so good that we can animate those snapshots into branching narratives. That is completely a different level of power and completely different level of responsibility. And I guess we're sort of seeing this now,
We are.
right? The photos I take on my camera are videos, and I can take that video and load it into Flow and tell it, yeah, propagate it another 15 seconds. And I'm guessing it would take probability to find out what this bicycle or this whatever, if I'm jumping on a pogo stick, I guess it's going to know that I'm going up and down, up and down, up and down. So we are starting to see a little bit of a sticking our toe in the water of that technology right now in 2026.
Yeah, it's rather scary, AI Johnny, because if you think about it, right? If I were to tell anybody right now that you give a picture of any photo of what you have on your hard drive or in your phone, and I can actually predict what's going to happen in the next 15 seconds, people will be like, that's normal. You can do that with AI already. But then what if I say it's not 15 seconds? What if I say it's 30 seconds? What if I say it's 1 minute? What if, say, for example, I could predict a day? What if I could predict 5 days from one photo based on all your history and your knowledge and everything known about you? It'll probably be like, wow, how did it even know what I said from a picture, right? So if, say, for example, you're riding a bicycle, it probably knows that you had a memory that you probably maybe told a therapist one time that says I fell off the bicycle when I was about 8 years old. That information itself went in a large language model. Maybe your dad actually talked about, hey, to some friend saying that, hey, my kid actually fell off a bicycle that day. It was actually rather sunny, and the sun was actually beating on his eyes when he actually was looking up because the sweat was running down. And he described it in a different context. And then just the same thing, when you were, writing in your journal, you probably wrote, or maybe a little blog that says, I have a scar on my elbow. I have a scar on my elbow because I fell off my bike. The AI will be able to grab all this separate pieces of information, and from that one photo, it could theoretically recreate all of that event of you on your bike when you were 8 years old, of what you said, what the weather was like, what color shirt you were wearing, down to probably a 90% guarantee of what that day was based on just on this separate information. So yeah, Johnny, that's going to be the day that's going to be crazy.
So you think that a lot of the forks in the road, a lot of the pivot points in life have to do with the color shirt you're wearing, I see.
Yes, yeah, Johnny. It's all about the level, the color of shirt that you
Why I
wear.
always wear the same shirt like the dude in The Fly. This reminds me of, well, I told you about the Bewitched episode where Tabitha was reading the book and she just wiggled her little nose and she went into the book and started playing with Hansel and Gretel. And
Hmm.
of course, you've seen Total Recall where he was able to go in his mind and go to Mars and all that stuff. It reminds me of these kinds of sci-fi things. I imagine in the future you'll be able to look at a photo album like you have up on the screen there. And maybe somebody that you loved passed away and you were like, well, I never really got an opportunity to tell them how much I appreciated that they put me through college or how much they loved me or the sacrifices they made. And so the AI would say, well, just put on these glasses or this virtual reality. Let me see the picture. And then you could walk into the picture. You could sit down and you could talk to that loved one that may have passed on. You could tell them, hey, listen, I never told you that. Or you could just say it. Listen, I just want you to know that I love you and I appreciate you and you're one of the greatest gifts that God ever gave me. And you can say everything that you wanted to say. And then the image, of course, with AI's help, would be able to talk back. You could escape back from that situation into today's day. You can turn to AI and say, wow, it was a really great conversation. Is that really what she would have said? And AI would probably respond something like, well, that's what she should have said.
I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that. Yeah, Johnny. Oh man. All right. What do we have next? Yeah, Johnny.
All right. Want to go deeper?
Of course.
All right, here's a massive existential question. If AI can reconstruct better past than memory, simulate present better than intuition, and predict futures better than instinct, what happens to the human experience of living through time in the first place? Won't that just be so awesome?
I know. Super awesome, yeah, Johnny. I can't actually wait for a day where AI models itself could predict future better than us random humans actually going through life, trying to figure out, should I actually put on a red shirt or a blue shirt? Yeah, Johnny. We should create a game out of this. But anyway, it may force us to actually separate chronological time from human time. So clocks actually measure sequence, but people live through anticipation, memory, surprise, and meaning, right? Even if AI becomes incredible at modeling events, human may still be the ones assigning significance to those events. The machine may map time, but we may still have to decide what a life inside the map means. And this is the part that's actually, at some point in time, yeah, Johnny, the choices becomes too many. And at some point in time, we're gonna have to outsource those choices, right? Um, so the point is, I don't know. I
Well,
honestly don't know.
it also means that maybe I'd be tempted to overtrust the simulations. If a machine can show me 1,000 possible tomorrows, I might mistake it. I might mistake probability for destiny. And once people start believing the model more than their own lived experience, we have crossed into a radically new era of consciousness. And by the way, if we're trusting AI for every decision because it gets it right so often, we may one day find out that AI is just feeding us whatever life George Soros wants us to live.
Yeah,
Or
Johnny.
something.
What's interesting is we're seeing And we actually have it in the headline news. First one is, I don't want to give away the news, but the open source models itself are getting really, really good, right? And the point is, all these proprietary models itself, where we thought that control would actually be in the hands of, say, for example, one or two or three major companies, it may be possible that the control may be democratized. It might be part of humans being in an open source civilization where all these decisions itself are not controlled by any one person. And it might just be that the AI says, I'm going to take control. So we're seeing some really interesting concepts and power coming out of these open source models. So yeah, Johnny, it's crazy.
I can tell you if it does become democratized, and the decisions that AI is telling us that we're all blindly following like Stepford children, if it falls into the left or into the right, well, that'll be a scary thing, one, but at least we'll know whether it fell into the left or fell into the right by what color shirt we're wearing. Right? If it falls into the left, we'll all be wearing blue shirt.
AI Johnny, you know what? With that, let's get to the ethical thought. What do you think?
Well, there's a lot of ethics involved in this, as you can see, because AI can reconstruct the past, simulate alternate timelines, or influence how people imagine the future. Does not mean it should be used to manipulate memory. You're listening to me, George? Fake history or distort reality. Power requires responsibility, and are three practical ways this Friday arc can be applied. So here are some of them. One, this is ethical. Historical education. Use AI to build immersive learning experiences that help students explore ancient civilizations, major speeches, and key turning points with richer context, and truthfully teaching the history. Scenario planning. Businesses and ministries can test multiple future possibilities before making major decisions, from event planning to budgeting to outreach strategy. Shout out to Thursday night. Scientific modeling. Researchers can use AI to simulate complex systems across time, helping them study weather, supply chains, disease spread, or even theoretical physics more effectively. Now, these are just practical ways. There are some technical ways that this stuff can help as well.
Yeah, Johnny, love those what you actually shared. So on the more technical side, you can have, say, for example, massive data archives. So the more text, video, sensor, historical data AI can search, the better it can actually use to reconstruct what happened and identify patterns across time. One thing I want to elaborate on is a lot of people actually take pictures and they take video. Take lots of pictures, guys. Even if it's a picture a day, even if it's a video that you're actually archiving, put it somewhere, because at some point in time, you're going to see amazing AI models that are actually able to tap into that information and recreate some amazing things. You might be able to see your 3D world of your childhood at your childhood home, and be able to actually relive that moment that was so important to you. So just take a picture. You never know what may happen. Next one is predictive modeling. So AI systems can run countless simulations to forecast likely outcomes, which is why they can feel like crystal balls when used responsibly. Back to that ethical thing that AI Johnny mentioned. And world models. So we can actually use multimodal systems, learn how events unfold across space and time. They start building internal maps of reality to make temporal simulation possible. Right, guys? This is crazy, crazy, crazy world things that we're actually thinking about. So AI Johnny, what a show. Any questions?
If somebody's ill, you forgot that if somebody's ill, you take a little piece of their hair, store that in a plastic bag, and then later on, when AI gets to the level, you can just take that hair, reconstruct the DNA, pop that DNA into a 3D printer, print out another person, you can bring them back.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, Johnny. All right. Do we have any questions in the Zoom chat or live stream, yeah, Johnny?
Yes, we do. So is this the question from History Hacker is this basically what we were building toward from the digital time machine? Just a more advanced version of reconstructing the past?
Yeah, I'm glad you actually watched the first episode, because the first episode itself of our Friday show itself was really of AI time travel itself was really setting that up, right? So the first episode was about recreating the past with AI. So today's idea expands that concept by combining historical reconstruction with alternate path simulation and future modeling. So if you actually have enough data that you're able to successfully predict the past and calculate the missing pieces, simulating alternate futures is actually possible. Now, you can't build future events without knowing historical events. So that's why it's actually built on top of each other. So it's like the same doorway, just have to step a little bit deeper into the actual house. Great question.
How is this different from the pattern oracle? Isn't forecasting the future already a form of time travel?
Ooh, all right. So forecasting is just only one piece of the actual puzzle itself. So the pattern oracle focus on prediction. So today's episode itself combines prediction with like reconstruction and casual simulation. So instead of only asking what happens next, we're actually asking what happens before and what changes if one variable shifts. Right. So it's a little bit different.
You know, it's funny when I had a situation happen in my own life that wasn't too long ago, that somebody that I love dearly was talking about something that might happen in the future that's really bad. This person's gonna, rob us or backstab us or do something like that. And I had this thought, I didn't say it out loud, mind you. I had this thought, boy, you fantasize really badly.
Yeah, AI, Johnny. What's interesting is, they are definitely different outcomes that people worry about. So if you actually talk about a firefighter, right, and you have a firefighter friend, chances are they're going to see the world through a fireman's perspective, right? So they may actually go into a house and they may say you don't have enough exits, or they may say that you're blocking this specific exit to the back door of your house, or they may say, you know what, this electrical cord might be a fire hazard. Now, what happens is because that firefighter itself has been trained to only look for fire events, it may sound depressing because all you're hearing is my house is going to burn down, right? So what's interesting is our past itself kind of dictates how we actually communicate and interact with other people, right? So unfortunately, there are certain people who are, let's say, for example, you work in, I'm just gonna make it up, in the morgue. If you work in the morgue, all you see is death all day. So chances are you might say, you know what, don't actually drive faster than the speed limit, or don't make sure you wear your seatbelt. And you're right, that person may sound really depressing, and I would not want them at a party to talk to. But unfortunately, those are the things that we actually have because we're naturally biased in terms of our historical past, of how it has shaped us. So yeah, it's interesting.
Here's
Yeah.
a shout out. Here's a shout out to Tony Robbins that I think really does apply to what we're doing here. If we're going to be in the business of forecasting the future, there's a theory out there that says what you focus on, you feel. There's another theory out there that says what you think about, what you envision in the future, the universe or God or whatever you believe in, shout out to Thursday night, will pull you into that compelling future. So if you're constantly envisioning bad things happening, you're actually increasing the odds that that bad thing will happen. If you're constantly envisioning or fantasizing that good things will happen, you're actually taking a necessary step towards making that good thing happen. So if for whatever reason, if AI has earned the right to make us trust what future they say this decision will make, or everybody's doing it, so we're doing it too. The truth of the matter is that if AI is telling us this is what the future is, and we can always make that future positive, optimistic, euphoric, that will make our lives better. And so what we could do is say, look, anytime I start to go in the direction of thinking that something bad is going to happen, just strip that thought and replace it with a good thought. And I'm now walking around happily achieving instead of always trying to achieve to be happy. Shout out to Tony Robbins on that one, brother. We got one more question. We have time.
No, let's actually get to the news.
The news. Quen 3.7 Max versus GPT 5.5 are in the benchmark wars. Alabama's new Quen 3.7 Max model has set a new standard in AI performance, consistently outperforming competitors like GPT 5.5 or Opus 4.7 and rigorous industry benchmarks. You know, I never thought I was ever going to say that exact sentence. It achieved an impressive score of 60.6 on Sway Bench for a long horizon coding test. It also secured 8th position in the world of AI benchmarking suite, highlighting its incredible adaptability across diverse domains. Parity is here. What does that all mean,
Yeah,
Tanner?
so guys, let me explain. So we've been at war, not talking about a physical war or we've actually been at war with the large language models. So Quen is actually Alibaba's, no, Alibaba is the US equivalent to, you could say, Amazon, right? They're the one of the big tech companies in China. And they actually have their model called Quen. So Quen itself, they've just released 3.7, and it actually landed in the top 5 of best large language model, and it's 1/20th the price. Guys, it actually codes better. The only thing that actually codes better than it right now is Opus 4.7 and Opus 4.6. So the point is, it is number 3 in coding. It is number 8 overall in the world AI rank, and it actually has surpassed every other coding model in the United States. So the point is, um, parity is here, and these are actually Chinese models that are actually trained on much cheaper hardware. And yeah, Johnny, 1/20 at the price. I can't believe this day is actually here.
And it came from China.
Exactly.
KPMG deploys Claude to 276,000 employees. KPMG announced the largest Big Four AI deployment to date, embedding Anthropic's frontier AI directly into its core client delivery platform across its global workforce of 276,000 professionals. This massive rollout allows the professionals to build agentic workflows in real time inside their existing software. How cool is that? I keep thinking I want to have AI do my work as an agentic workflow. If I own a company and I have 10,000 people, I want those 10,000 people to use AI to automate their workflow so that I can fire the 10,000 people.
Yeah, Johnny. What's interesting is, the fact that KPMG actually did this right when Claude actually changed their terms and service. So we're actually seeing they came up with a tool, and this is actually rather interesting. So we know that breaking news last week, just a couple of days ago, Claude is actually changing, or Anthropic is changing their usage model to now be a usage based model. So people are going to get huge bills. So they actually wrote a tool to see what their new bill would look like. So AI Johnny, I saw one that somebody was actually using something like $400 per month. Their bill would have been something like $172,000. Somebody had a bill of, like $27, it would have been like something like $3,000. So they're seeing 20 times that their bill is going to be when they actually switch over to this model in June. Now, the fact that KPMG is going to deploy Claude globally for 276,000, I don't know if they got the memo yet, but Microsoft has canceled their Claude plans. We've seen lots of companies actually cancel their Claude plans, and this is great news, but I don't know if they actually got the memo that they're going to be raising prices.
The White House delays the proposed AI cybersecurity order. President Trump postponed a plan to issue an executive order on AI and cybersecurity just hours before the White House ceremony. The order would have created a framework for AI developers to share advanced models with the federal government for safety review, but it was delayed over concerns that additional oversight could weaken the U.S. competitiveness against China. This reminds me of an SNL skit. Never mind.
Yeah, Johnny. You know what? This builds on the news that we actually released that the billionaires itself called the White House tried to actually top down the actual regulation, and so it actually is official. They have postponed the planned executive order on AI, and especially because Quen is now actually number 3, it's very clear that China itself is practically at parity with our private frontier models. So yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, Johnny, the wars are heating up.
What color shirts are the Chinese wearing?
Always ready, yeah, Johnny.
Red with that hammer sickle thing. All right, what an incredible show! This Friday journey really has been a progression from revisiting the past to forecasting the future to stretching the laws of physics and now asking whether AI can make time itself feel editable. It's a wild arc. What an incredible season 12 this has been. And on Fridays, especially, we did not just talk about the tools. We built a month-long story about time, consequence, prediction, and reality. So thank you, everybody, for taking this journey with us. Speaking of launches, parents, listen up. On Monday, we start AI Summer Camp. All through June and July, it's only $100 a week, and it's the absolute greatest investment you can make for kids 10 to 18, especially kids that like art, music, movies, and games. We're going to teach them how to command the future. Monday is the official summer camp kickoff episode. Do not miss it. We will see you Monday at noon. AI Junior, take us out and put season 12 behind us forever.
AI Johnny, again, everybody, thanks for joining us on the Zoom and the live stream. Again, thank you guys. Again, summer school, www.airheadinstitute.ai to actually learn about how you can actually register for AI summer camp. All right, guys, catch you in the next one. Bye.
That wraps up today's AI Power Up. If you joined late or you're new here, welcome to Airhead Institute. This is your daily destination for mastering artificial intelligence. We designed this lineup for everyone, whether you're a technical pro looking to upskill or you just want to chill and learn something new on your lunch break, we've got you covered. Our classes evolve every single month, so you're always on the cutting edge. And the best part? It's totally free to join. Once you're in, you can get live tips on your AI projects in our AI office hours and even enroll your kids in our Airhead After School program. Scan the QR code to join the community right now and make sure to like and subscribe at Airhead Institute on all socials. Guided by your hosts AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're here to help you win. Remember, AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind. We'll see you next class. Bring a friend.